Okay, now, as the very final, I should say, lectures on the things that we have covered so far in terms of the credible intervals, or better to just call that uncertainty intervals. The thing that we saw on our analysis in the R on our data sets was like that. We saw that, for example, we have a linear model. We call that y equals to ax plus b, which, as you remember, we just call a as slope and b as an intercept. And we say that in our model, x can represent in reality a covariance, which it was in our particular example, which was called the weights. Then our estimates about the best value of the a in our sampling algorithm, in our Bayesian inference, was essentially a kind of a random variable, which was essentially the thing that it distinguished the Bayesian framework with respect to the non-Bayesian or frequentist approach. On the things that we saw that normally in our analysis, for example, we use the function, which it was called posterior interval, as a model that we just worked on our analysis. And we saw that in one of the arguments that we have to just put inside, besides from, let's say, for example, besides from the Bayesian model that we had. And also, there was another argument that we said that it was called probe. And what was a probe? It was essentially the thing that we just called that as a probability. And we said that, for example, the probability that we are looking for example, our model, it was something less than 1. Let's call that, for example, 0.9. For example, that was the thing that we talked. And we saw that in our analysis that we had before, the thing was given to us. We saw that, okay, we are looking for a credible interval, or uncertainty interval, that we know the probability, a particular given probability, that our unseen parameter, which is going to be the a, which it was our slope, is going to fall within that range. We call that, let's say, for example, let's call that alpha and beta. We had our given probability, but we were looking for, I should say, for that interval. And it was a forward approach in the case that we had. And essentially, the thing that we had a particular probability and we were going to find, let's say, the interval. That was essentially what we did on the previous tutorial we had, but however, at this stage, we are going to do something totally in the opposite direction. We are not just going to, in our analysis in the Bayesian framework, we are just going to start with a desired interval. Then from the desired interval, we are just going to find the probability that our parameter is going to fall before we see that measure that parameter. Then that's essentially, that's the purpose of the thing that we are just going to do right now. Okay.